Please welcome Ying to the stage.
I have a confession. I have an unhealthy obsession of feeling not enough, whether that be money, time, or connection, until I met Troy. During our visit to Woodburn, Troy invited us to his place for dinner. Standing in the middle of his living room, facing a brownish-looking wall, I noticed that there are some water stains on it. And I proceeded to sit down on a hard wooden bench with traces of dried paint spots, as well as not having an arm support and backrest. I forget, and I actually leaned backwards and I almost fell. So side note, if there's no arm support and backrest, never lean backwards. Right in front of me was a grey foldable table with dents and marks on the table. I later learned that someone from Brisbane donated that table. This happened during the Anzac Day long weekend, taking upon the suggestion of a couple whom I just met. My partner and I drove down to Woodburn, a tiny town at New South Wales Northern Rivers, which was severely affected by the flood in early March. If you're curious, you can search up the place, and there are satellite images published online showing the difference of the before and after images of what happened after the flood. The impact from the disaster was still there. Business premises were left empty. Shattered glass windows can be found on the floor, as well as broken equipment. There were a couple of empty houses, judging by the looks of the overgrown grass, as well as the abandoned kids' trampoline. Now back to Troy's place. The couple friend came with us over the weekend down to Woodburn and introduced us to Troy. And at this moment, Troy was excitedly introducing his creation for the night. So today we're gonna have some chicken stew with some potatoes and onions on it. This portable stove was delivered by my daughter, and next to this portable stove we have a slow cook beef vindaloo. This slow cooker is an amazing, I love this equipment, and I'm gonna cook rice for you guys later on, so everyone, we can have an enjoyable meal. That's probably not a good impression of Troy, but I have no idea how to do an Australian accent. But we get it. Troy prepared a lot for us for dinner, despite having us as two random strangers to his place, and he welcomed us to his home. As all the electrical wirings and switches were destroyed in the flood, Troy opted for some creativity on how to generate power to his place. So there was a long line of plugs connecting across his home to an outside shed that generates some electricity from the outside power point to the internal house. Lights, obviously there were none. So Troy opted for battery-operated fairy lights that we can get from Bunnings. So he took the string of the lights and decorated them along the walls of the living room. And when darkness creeps in, with a click of the switch, the light lit up, and under the brightness of the lights, we enjoy the simple meal that Troy cooked, which is beef vindaloo, rice, as well as chicken stew, just in case any one of us forget about that. And we exchanged conversations. Slowly, we discovered that Troy has a passion in music. The place we were sitting was not actually a living room. It was in fact a recording studio before it was washed away. But the musician in him did not forget his priorities. He actually managed to rescue his collection of guitars among the chaos during the flash flooding. There were guitars that were safe from a higher ground, as well as his big boomer speakers. So the musician in him did not forget his priorities when he rescued his equipment. So whilst recalling this story, or whilst writing the story, a quote came to mind by Maya Angelou. People will forget what you do, people will forget what you say, but people will not forget how you make them feel. And during that time, I felt that I can't remember exactly what was the content that was being shared during the night, but I remember I went home that night feeling connected, feeling grateful, and feeling abundant. It is a realization that all of us do not need a lot to start an act of kindness, to exchange a conversation with someone next to us. And it's also a realization of my unhealthy obsession of being not enough. Or in fact, we are enough, I am enough, and the fact that I can stand here sharing the story and you are in your audience having a good laugh and enjoying this moment on a Friday night, we do have more than enough. We are abundant, you are abundant, and I am abundant. Thank you.